ファンと共に、小島さんの新しい出発を応援します。
はい、ありがとうございます。
頑張ってください。
はい、ありがとうございます。
What's up, everybody? It's Eon Cure with a news update for the new Kojima Productions. The following information comes from the Twitters of Hideo Kojima, director of Kojima Productions, and Mark Cerny, the lead system architect of the PlayStation 4. Through Twitter, they both confirmed on January 19th, 2016, that Kojima and Cerny will be spending 10 days together to search for the newest technology all over the world, most likely to explore options for whatever new game Hideo Kojima is cooking up in his new studio. The world tour began with a trip to Sony VASG, or Visual Arts Service Group, in San Diego, where Kojima went hands-on with some of Sony's performance capture process, namely the one used for games like The Last of Us and The Order, both exclusive titles to PlayStation and both of which had some pretty awesome results. So what does this tell us about Kojima's next title? Well, I think it's safe to say, to no one's surprise, that it will be highly cinematic, featuring high-fidelity camera work as well as high-caliber actors and acting. Also interesting to note is that both The Last of Us and The Order featured cutscenes that transitioned into gameplay seamlessly, so in-game cinematic cutscenes can most likely be expected in Kojima's new game, also to no one's surprise. Now, what's really exciting is that Kojima is no longer a newcomer to facial and motion capture, as the technology was utilized heavily in his last game, Metal Gear Solid 5. So now that the man has experience with the technology, it's not hard to imagine that the results in terms of graphical fidelity and cinematography might surpass even those of Metal Gear Solid 5. Also exciting to consider is that Kojima's new title will most likely be current-gen exclusive, unlike Metal Gear Solid 5, which means that graphics can be pushed even further. Finally, for Kojima's tour of Sony VASG in San Diego, we got this little gem of a photo showing Kojima doing some faces for the facial capture helmet, so definitely a productive day. Following San Diego, Kojima took a trip to LA, where he met up with none other than J.J. Abrams to inform him about his new studio. What was discussed at this meeting could be a number of things, but my assumption is that they were discussing filmmaking technologies and techniques that may further enhance the cinematic aspects of Kojima's new title. Another possibility is that they were discussing possible actors to portray some of Kojima's new characters. If you recall, Kojima had consulted the likes of Avi Arad to cast Kiefer Sutherland as Snake for Metal Gear Solid 5, so who's to say that something similar isn't happening here? One last interesting assumption is that they may be discussing some kind of partnership, something akin to Kojima's partnership with Guillermo del Toro. Maybe J.J. Abrams is interested in working on a game and is partnering up with Hideo Kojima to offer his expertise for the new title. The reverse situation could also be possible. It's possible that they are not discussing a game but rather a movie. Something interesting that Kojima stated in his IGN interview is that while his new studio will initially focus on games, down the road, after a solid and satisfying video game IP has been established, they may consider expanding into movies and videos. He says that the overall focus of the new studio is digital content, so beyond games, they could consider movies, animations, anything. So this little meeting with J.J. Abrams might have something to do with that. So to sum it up, I'm thinking either a meeting regarding filmmaking technologies and techniques, a meeting regarding possible actors to portray some of Kojima's new characters, or a meeting regarding some kind of partnership for a movie or game for the future. Hard to say for sure, and I may be completely off the mark, but I will say that it's cool to see these two together. Funny thing is that the two are not dissimilar to each other. Shows like Lost and Fringe can be as much of a mindfuck as Metal Gear, so the two partnering up for a project may be some kind of perfect storm. But anyway, following his meeting with J.J. Abrams the following day, on January 20th, Kojima met up with none other than Kyle Cooper, best known among Metal Gear fans for designing the intro sequences for Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 5, as well as designing the concept interface for the iDroid. The fact that Kojima's in talks with him could mean that Kyle Cooper will return to do some designs for Kojima's new title, possibly the intro sequence or various aspects of the game's user interface. Then Kojima's Technology World Tour took him to Bellevue, Washington, where he visited Sucker Punch, the development studio best known for the Sly Cooper and the Infamous series. Once again, he was probably there to meet and greet prospective partners and also to explore new technologies. The following day, on January 21st, Kojima headed to Seattle to take a flight to his next destination, and while at the airport, Hideo Kojima posted the following tweet teasing a new program called HideoTube. My guess is that this will serve a very similar purpose to Kojima Station, which is to communicate on the internet through video, news, and updates about his latest projects and shenanigans. And what's great is that according to Kojima's personal assistant, Ayako, they are welcoming English subtitle volunteers, so we may not have to wait for the program to release an English version, which was one of the frustrating elements of Kojima Station. Very cool. No word on when we can expect the first episode of the program, but a nice tease nonetheless. Kojima's next destination was Sony's Bend studio, who were responsible for the creation of games like the Siphon Filter series, as well as portable titles like Resistance Retribution and Uncharted Golden Abyss. Once again, Kojima is most likely exploring technologies that he can possibly employ for his new game, and in this case, I would say he was looking at technology for portable devices and consoles. Whether he'll be using this technology is up for debate, but it's still interesting that he visited this particular studio. The following day, on January 22nd, Kojima visited Sony Computer Entertainment of America HQ, but on his way there, he posted a pair of tweets that caught my eyes, and they go as follows. Searching for the newest tech trip also turned out to be Bonding People in the World trip. That's because games are meant to amuse humans, created by humans and delivered by humans. It pleases me to see that the man is finally in a non-hostile work environment after all the bullshit Konami put him and his team through. It sounds like he's happy and very comfortable with his new environment, working with people that he gets along with and that aim to elevate his work rather than impede it, and all of that can only culminate to a better product. So anyway, as I was saying, his next trip was the headquarters of Sony Computer Entertainment of America, or SCEA, which is based in San Mateo, California. Studios like Bend Studio, Santa Monica Studios, Sucker Punch Productions, and Naughty Dog are all part of this division of Sony. According to the PlayStation official website, SCEA's headquarters houses advanced hardware that enable the most talented developers to produce Vanguard titles. It's also noted on their website that the building houses one of the most sophisticated motion capture studios in the world. There is also SCEA's music and sound team to consider, which was highlighted by Kojima's assistant Ayako in some of her recent tweets. The prospect that all of this technology may be available for Kojima to use and exploit for his next title is exciting to say the least. Kojima's next trip the following day on January 23rd took him somewhere even further than usual, London, England. After a cancelled flight and a long trip, he finally arrived on January 24th, did some sightseeing, and he eventually met up with none other than Midge Ure, the man who did the cover of David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World featured in Phantom Pain. Hard to say what they talked about, perhaps another partnership of some kind, but Midge Ure did tweet that he met up with Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima and that very exciting things are coming from him, along with a photo of a Kojima Productions bobby pin. Obviously not much information there, but it seems as though Kojima filled him in on some aspects of his next project, and it seems Midge Ure liked what he heard. Obviously, everyone else will have to wait quite a bit until we hear some concrete details regarding the new game, but I like what I'm seeing and hearing so far. Kojima's making a lot of new friends, many of them incredibly talented and resourceful, and he's being given a tour of an incredible arsenal of the latest game development technology, many of which are in-house at Sony, Kojima's new partner, so the future is looking very bright so far. While we still don't know how much of Sony's resources and technology Kojima will be utilizing for his upcoming new game, my guess is that he'll be utilizing as much of what Sony offers as he can, especially when you consider that the upcoming title is slated to be a PlayStation exclusive. Furthermore, utilizing existing resources and technology at Sony's should help reduce development time and costs significantly. So if you ask me, Kojima would be a fool to start from scratch, especially in the current primitive stages of his new Kojima Productions studio. It isn't hard to imagine that Sony's resources and technology will have a significant influence and impact on the outcome of Kojima's new game, and that's a very good thing when you look at the track record and quality of Sony's in-house games. So there you have it, folks. Everything you need to know about Kojima's 10-day latest technology world tour so far, along with some of my own thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. What are your thoughts on the matter? To what extent do you think Kojima will be utilizing Sony's resources and technology? What do you think Kojima's discussing behind the scenes with all these influential people? Let us know in the comments below, and to be further updated on gaming news, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!